Having a day in Arkansas, that is for sure, as they announced John Calipari, or as we say in Italiana, Calipari, is the new head basketball coach of the University of Arkansas. Good for them, man. They seem excited. That fan base. I know they have the number one baseball team in the country, but man, I felt like they need something to cheer for. Good for them. I was watching John Calipari's press conference before we started the show. Dude knows how to work a crowd, man. It's going to be interesting to see how he does there. You're not here to listen to me talk about John Calipari, nor the Arkansas Razorbacks. You're here to talk about some LSU, and we will do that here tonight. I think we need to dive a little deep into the transfer portal. I think we need to dive a little bit deeper into what happened today with Jackson Howard, the LSU edge rusher who entered or is going to be entering the transfer portal. What does it mean? I saw a lot of people, obviously you know what it means, but what does it mean for LSU? What are they specifically looking at? And I think it could tell you something else. Where do they feel like they're comfortable at? Where do they feel like that they have a lot of depth that they can let some guys walk? So we'll touch on that here tonight as well. Also, Jayden Daniels going through some interviews. We're going to talk about it. Look, you know my stance. If you don't know my stance by now, I think that there's a lot of false information, but there is some information that I think is true. I do think that there, and we've talked about this before, potential trade-ups to get Jayden, and so we will touch on it. We will 1,000% touch on that here tonight as well. So in all of that, that is going to be our second topic, or the New York Giants, going to, let me rephrase that, are the New York Giants going to trade up to get Jayden Daniels? I think that there's a lot of rumors out there about that. And quite honestly, there might be some, I think that there have been some phone calls made by New York to move up to get Jayden Daniels as their next quarterback. I understand that they do have Daniel Jones. Don't be surprised of what the New York Giants will do. Also, I'll go on Rufino's rants. It's funny because I was sent by some of you, actually like 5 of you, of me getting ripped on another message board. I'm not going to talk about that. You can have your opinion of me, man. It is what it is. We've built this from the ground up. You can literally go sit on a stick for all that I care. I don't care about what you think about me anymore, really and truthfully. 5 years ago I did. Now, look, man, you're going to either like me, hate me, or just don't have an opinion. Doesn't really matter. But I do think that there was a question that was posed today from some people. I made a statement about Garrett Nussmeier and some things that he's doing under center. I'm going to re-clarify that here tonight. Things that I've seen. You can take it for what it's worth. You can have your own opinion. Hell, he can go out to the spring game on Saturday and do a lot better than we've seen. But as of right now, if you don't trust me, I tell you this all the time. If you don't trust what I'm seeing, go look at somebody, go ask somebody else. I think Wilson Alexander is a very good advocate and a very good person of judgment. He and I talk pretty much after every single thing that we see team related to get notes from one another. So if you trust him, go ask him. He's also doing the pot. Go ask him. There are some people that you're asking that aren't even out there. So it is what it is. Oh, Garrett Nussmeier looks good. Really? You're not out there. So how do you know? Well, coaches are telling me. Bullshit, they're telling me. Bullshit, they're telling me. We'll touch on that. We'll go around your SEC. So listen, I just have been having so much going on throughout the day. I haven't been able to do a show for around your SEC. We pick that up next week. We'll start that back up next week. Just been super duper busy. And we missed this last night. Hashtag Ask Blake thoughts, questions, concerns. You can fire them inside of the Rudy Crew chat, and we will get to as many of them as we can. Spectrum Wellcare says Bear is staying at USC. It's funny. when a big publication or a big business reports something like that, kind of water off a duck's back. But if somebody like me would have said that, y'all would have killed me. If I would have said, hey, he's going to the portal and then he doesn't, you would have killed me. So be consistent. Akon and LGZ, who got married this weekend. By the way, LGZ has the best, and I'm talking about the absolute best, a.k.a. Lyle Johnson, has the absolute best wedding date. Yes, he does. He got married on April the 6th, which is when pretty much any legend gets married on. Oh, yes, I got married on April the 6th, my damn self. So congratulations to Lyle, but he says, finally back in here. Let's go. Good to have you with us, my man. Chance Babin says, LSU needs to primarily sign 90% of players from border states and the southern states. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. See, here's what I think about what Chance just said there. I think that Ed Orgeron from recruiting had the right philosophy. What do I mean? Remember, Ed said, "Listen, we're gonna try to lock the state down. We'll go to Texas. We'll go to Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, wherever, and then we'll go national for first round top potential number 1 overall picks." He was unable to do that outside of Joe Burrow. I mean, yes, he did go get Jamar Chase. You got to give him that. Did go get Justin Jefferson. You got to look, man, for all the shit that Ed took, you got to give him a lot of these recruiting wins, bro. I mean, you really do, because he established what you saw on the field in 2019. Like, yeah, some of them were less players, but he brought a lot of these dudes in here now. He brought a lot of them in. I think that he had the right philosophy, though, lock the state down, which, guys, here's the crazy thing. Here's the outright crazy thing. If Ed Orgeron would have done what Brian Kelly did last year, y'all would be over the freaking moon. Let me say that again. If any other coach in LSU's history, well, Nick Saban did it, but you get my drift, would have done in recruiting what Brian Kelly did last year, it would be nonstop talk. Because the biggest thing that you always say, lock the state down. Guys, he went 9 of 10 of the top 10 in this state. One kid that did not want to go here. Fine. Good on him. That's his decision. But if any other coach in the country would have gone 9 out of 10, what would you have done? So all I am saying here is, you get on the BK about a lot of stuff. You get onto his staff about a lot of stuff. We say, oh, he's lazy. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Those are chirps that are always out there about him. Well, it's his job to hire the staff to do what they need to do too. Sorry about you. Sorry about you. James Guillory says, guess Nuss needs to transfer. Jesus H. Christ. Jesus H. Christ. When did I say that? So Nuss isn't looking good. I didn't say that. What I said was, I've religiously said this, when he's been under center in 5 and 7 strip drops, he's had some issues. You would think that I'm just like saying the kid sucks. Not even remotely close. But guys, on Saturday, when he was under center, he legitimately had one thought process. F it, Kyron Lacey's out there somewhere. He's got to get better there. If they're going to be under center and run things under center, and they're going to throw from under center, he's got to get better. Bottom line. By the way, it wasn't just me saying this. Sage Ryan had 3 interceptions 2 Saturdays ago. Where do you think that came from? By the way, all on Garrett Nussmeier. So I look at there and ask you, what? That's a part of the Rufino's rants. What do you think that I'm judging him off of? Number one, being out there and forming my own opinion. And again, if you don't believe me, go somewhere else. Never said the kid needed to transfer, not even remotely in the same stratosphere. I think what happens is I say, hey, he doesn't look good in this area. Transfer. Honestly, it's, what a lot of people had on my thoughts about Jayden Daniels. Blake he's too much of a fan of Jayden Daniels. No shit, I was a fan of Jayden Daniels from the beginning. No shit. Because I got to tell you, and this is just will always be my take. I don't give two Rudy Poos how he gains any kind of yardage. If he runs for 15 yards or throws it for 15 yards, I could give a shit. and a Heisman proved that. All right. Corey Rogers says the good thing is he's got Joe Sloan as quarterback coach. I agree. Guys, he's got one start. So I can be critical of, I can critique something. That's a better word. I can critique something of him and, it blows up. I know why it blows up. You're not going to like the reason why I think it blows up, but I know and understand why. Well, there goes Blake. But then I said something positive about Jayden Daniels and y'all freaked out 2 years ago. Oh, Blake's full of shit. Yeah, okay. He's just got to work on stuff, man. I mean, that's just the bottom line nature. LSU Hyper Ninja 9, what a hell of a name. And is that the what was the main character of Pokemon? Gotta catch 'em all! As his avatar. He says Nussmeier is a talented quarterback. Don't disagree with that. Said that was and has waited his turn. Sure has. If he wanted to transfer, he would have, but he didn't. And most of the players don't wait that long like he did. 1,000%. Has absolutely nothing to do with what I said Monday or what I said about on Saturday or anything in reference to what he's done under center. Guys, he's never been under center. I don't care who his daddy is. I don't care who anybody's daddy is. When we're on the field and we see it, he's got to get better there. George says he's working on stuff and he needs to. It's spring. Sure. Jesus Christ. I might just scratch the fucking segment. Because anything that I say, you will just, Blake, it's just spring. Okay. All right. Old vet says, no, Blake, no critiques. You have to tell them everything they want to hear, I guess. David said, but you said maybe Ryan was playing the plays on the three INTs back then. I said he knows the plays. I think he knows the plays. Doesn't stop that he had 3 picks. And how do you weigh it? David, I would love for you to start a podcast and tell me how you weigh it. But I said Sage Ryan had 3 picks. Again, what you're doing is taking something out of context because you really want us to be great. I do too. You really think I want to come out here and say something remotely negative about anybody? No, I'm giving a fucking opinion. Jesus Christ. It's the Miles Brennan effect all over again, but Nuss is better than him. Can't see the forest through the trees, man. Can't see the forest through the trees. Guys, he threw 3 picks. Do I think Sage knew plays? 1,000%. Do I care? No, because that's what I think that he did. How do I know he does? But I know what you will do. Arkansas, we talked about to start the show. Arkansas, had their quarterback throw a pick today. I saw 3 or 4 of you LSU fans saying, there he goes throwing a pick. Arkansas is going to suck. Well, your quarterback threw 3 picks 2 Saturdays ago. So I'm going to clarify that. What I think is happening. Stay with it. All right. Let's get to it. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all of those groups on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, share to the Real LSU Nation, Tiger Nation, Talking Tiger Sports, all of them. We greatly appreciate it when y'all do that. If you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and notification bell wherever you're listening to the podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at BetOnline, our good friend Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty, and our good friends over at J&J Exterminating. But let me say this. We talked about this last night, and we mentioned this last night, but I want to redo it again because, we went at 9 p.m. last night, and some of you might have not gotten it. But Christy Hunt is somebody that I'm asking you, all of AYS Nation, to help. Tyler's mom, so Tyler Alexander, our good friend over at LPT Realty, has been battling Parkinson's disease for a while now, and as of this year, her symptoms have progressed to a point where it's drastically affecting her quality of life. With many thoughts and prayers, she has decided to undergo deep brain stimulation surgery to assist her getting back that quality of life. What they're doing, guys, since she is unable to work now and since she needs to have this surgery, they are putting on a jambalaya benefit at Oak Point in Watson. That's Oak Point in Watson this Saturday, April 13th, the spring game, day 2. So if you're going to Baton Rouge, go get your jambalaya plate at Oak Point and then go to the game. At 10:30 a.m., it's to raise money for her surgery and to also bring awareness to Parkinson's disease. Help them out today. There's their Venmo right there. If you want to make a donation, you can't go over there to get a plate. At Christy, with an I, at Christy/Hunt/17. That's Christy, KRISTI/Hunt/17. Anything that you can do would be greatly beneficial for her and our good friend Tyler. So please, I am going to make a donation. I hope that you do as well. Let's talk about our good friends at BetOnline. We got a lot of LSU stuff to talk about. We do that next.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
We're back. All right. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. So today, LSU, of what will probably be at least around 5, had a player who told the staff, and it was announced today by Matt Zenitz of 247, who first reported it, that Jackson Howard, the edge rusher, defensive end, whatever you want to label him these days, it doesn't really matter. The kid's coming off the edge. Had told the staff that he is in the transfer portal. So a couple of things. I did see a lot of LSU fans say, man, and we really wish we could have held on to the kid. I agree with you. I think the kid can work into something, be talented. But look, man, I do think that LSU in a lot of ways during this entire process. So in case you didn't know, The portal is going to open up on April the 15th. So 5 days away, less than that now because we're at 7 o'clock at night. There's going to be at least 5 players that are going to hit the portal at minimum. I do think that you can take something from this when you see some guys hit the portal. Let me explain. I think that there's a situation and a place where if you see some DBs, if you see a guy like today, an edge rusher, I think that LSU will show you where they think, number one, they have enough depth to compete. Number two, maybe somebody wants to just go and have more playing time and is unable to get that right now at LSU. Or number three, they're just not, in my opinion, or their opinion, I should say, good enough to be here. I will prepare you because I know that you know this, but what happens a lot of times is, and I see it in the chat all the time, hey, man, we got to go and get 2 interior defensive tackles. No doubt. 100% agree with you. We might not need to go get a running back because the April 17th date of Trey Holly seems like it's going to be pushed back into May. So we don't even really know if Trey Holly is going to get a court date when the portal opens and things will get resolved. I don't think that you can play around and wait for it. I think you got to go get a running back because, guys, if his next court date goes into May and then they set a trial date for July, then what? They set a trial date for August, September, then what? Now, Brian Kelly was very adamant about, I'll just call it like it is, the innocence to some extent of Trey Holly, but I think you need to go get it back. You know what we don't talk about, what we don't mention or discuss is who may enter the portal. Now, I'm going to tell you this, fair warning. I'm not naming any names. I don't think it's fair to me. I don't think it's fair to them. I don't think it's fair to LSU, but I'm going to give you position groups of what I think could happen here. Could be wrong, could be right. But this is strictly an opinion on what I think is going to happen. Again, key word here, think. Can be wrong. Today, as Jackson Howard enters, I think that they feel as if that they have a really, really good presence on the edge. I got to admit, and this is not a guy that we've talked a lot about, I think Ahmad Bro has looked pretty good, the kid from Ruston. Honestly, taller than I thought he'd be. He's actually, his arm length is longer than I thought it'd be. He's gotten, just really looks like a pretty solid SEC edge. Now, how does that translate? You know, is he better than Jackson Howard now? I don't know all that. Been a little impressed with him, to be honest. And one-on-ones, got a sack. Not with the ones, on one-on-ones in Pascal, he did get a sack. Like that a lot. Came off the edge. Quick. Off of the edge was Ahmad Bro. I think LSU feels deep there. And I think Jackson Howard leaving tells you that is a deeper room out there on the edge. That's why he's hitting the portal, guys. And I think this is how I feel for him. I think he knew he was in a battle, and he lost the battle to be rotating with the ones. I hate to say that for the young man. I wish he would have stayed. He's got heavy hands, and he could have done well here. I just don't know if he wanted to wait, and that's on him. Because there's a reason why he somewhat got beat out by some of these guys that are playing the edge. Got to admit, too, Kalaj Cobbins has been a little bit of a freak of nature when it comes to, guys, he's too fast for tackles. The only one that I have seen him once go against was Will Campbell. He got beat. It wasn't pretty because Will got his hands on him. You're talking about a top 5 pick in next year's draft. But, guys, he's going to go against tackles that aren't Will Campbell if he gets the chance. And his speed is something that I got to admit, I don't think that people realized. Now, him out in coverage, don't like it. I think he needs one job as a freshman to get better at. Rush the passer, and he'll be fine. Jackson Howard wasn't built for that. They even put him sometimes inside, put his hand in the dirt, and it didn't work. He was, in my opinion, wasn't physical enough at times Not all the times, because he had some good plays. He had some good stuff. I think he's still a power 4 type of DN edge guy. Once he got in that interior, had to put his hand in his dirt, it did not work well for him. Doesn't mean anything because I still think the kid could have developed. I saw the progression from him. But again, one thing that we don't mention is where are the position groups that after the 15th that we're going to see guys leave from? Number one, I do think that you're going to see multiple guys, maybe 1 or 2 from that safety position. I do think that you might see 1 or 2 specifically from corner, maybe just 1 from safety, but definitely at corner, I think you're going to see some guys that are going to leave. Guys, P.J. Woodland's already taken over. And I don't know how that situation is going to work now that you have a true freshman that's out there starting and running with the ones. Guys, it's spring. So some writing on the wall is going to happen here. And I think Corey's going to tell BK, look, this guy can't play here. If we got to get under numbers, he's not going to play. I think BK's going to let him know if they don't already know. And they're waiting for the 15th for that portal to open. I think that there is going to be maybe a player that on the defensive side, don't freak out, I'm not talking about Harold Perkins, that maybe you're not wanting to leave and maybe it would be unexpected, but has not looked so great so far. We'll see how that goes on. But I think you're going to get to 5. On the offensive side of the ball, maybe a receiver, maybe an offensive lineman. I don't know who, maybe. I mean, Tyree Adams is not going to be one. Don't really know of any of the guards that would be one because I think Brad's going to want to hold on to his dudes. So I don't think that offensive line is a place. Quarterback, not going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen, I should say. Maybe the only guy that I could see transferring right now would be Ricky. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe A.J. Swan hits the portal again because he doesn't win the second team job. I don't know. What I would tell you that here is, though, I just don't know if there's not going to be more defense. I think it's going to be more defensive guys, to be blunt with you. If there are some receivers, maybe an O-lineman, all right, you don't have the bodies that will hit the portal at running back, so okay. I do think the fat needs to be trimmed at DB. I think the fat needs to be trimmed in the interior of the defensive line too, but you can't cut anybody there. You can't move on from anybody there. You got to go get dudes, but you can't move on from anybody in case that you miss. And that position, guys, quite honestly, you probably need 6 guys that you can play. And you do have Dominic McKinley that's coming in, so we'll see. You're 3 over the scholarship limit. I think at minimum you get to 5. Truth is, there's probably going to be 6 or 7. So I say all this to say, don't panic. Don't be alarmed. And I know that you probably won't be. But when you see 7 guys going to the portal after spring, I know that the way that the college football mind works, I see it in every program. We got 7 some bitches hitting the portal? What in the hell is that about? Well, I mean, some teams got to make room for other dudes. Now, I will admit, they got a lot of talent, individually talented human beings on that team. I don't know if they have breakout stars. I don't know if they have first-round picks. What I do know is they got a lot of freaking talent, individual talent on that team, both sides of the football. And the question becomes, who are some of the guys that aren't qualified to be here? And I think that you probably in your mind right now are thinking, well, who in the hell Blake's talking? You probably know who. But there are 2 receivers that I'm thinking about in my head right now that I think probably need to look elsewhere. I think that there are a couple of corners, maybe a safety, that need to look elsewhere. And maybe a guy that no one would think would be thinking about transferring, he might go in there. Bottom line becomes, I think that the safe number is 5. I think the great number is 7. I don't know if LSU gets out of that. Now, maybe somebody surprises us that maybe I'm not thinking about. Like maybe Will Campbell hits the portal. Just kidding. Just kidding. I know that got your attention, though. But you're going to have to cut at least 7. I say cut or process or move on from. You got 1 today, so now you're at 6. So this team has had all spring to go through that, and I do think that that's kicked up the intensity a little bit. Let me explain on that too. I think during this entire spring, one thing at least that I have not mentioned in reference to why I think the intensity is up on defense, one, it's obviously Blake Baker. 2, I don't think anybody wants to move on. I don't think anybody wants to get that conversation or have had that conversation with Brian Kelly and said, look, man, I hate to tell you this. I think it's best that you go into the portal. I appreciate your time here. It's just not working out. Which does kick up a whole nother can of worms, too. It's funny when we get on kids about hitting the portal that many times, but a coach at any given moment can tell a player to go into the portal. You know that, right? You know that, right? So LSU needs defensive tackles right now, without question. But one thing that we never discuss, the one thing that you don't want your school to have a black eye on, nobody does in the country. What do you do when coaches are the ones cutting kids? Well, you recruited them and you missed. You shouldn't be having the ability to cut them. Or maybe you should. What do I know? So I think 7's the easy number. Here's what I think about the portal as a whole moving into the 15th. I think it's going to be nuts. I think it's going to be outright nuts. I think it's going to be crazy. I think that there will be guys that hit the portal that we're not expecting. I think Barry Alexander going back in the portal was a couple of things. One, bad reporting, because they didn't have enough. 2, I think it's that they got, they were forced to do it in a lot of ways. But I really think that somebody at USC dropped the bag. Now, I will tell you something, and you LSU fans need to listen. USC is, and this doesn't affect you. So, it does affect you and it doesn't. USC boosters are dropping money when it comes to recruiting. I don't know if they didn't drop a bag on Barry Alexander. I think that's how I got him there to start off with. Kid says he's staying. Let's see if he ultimately does. But like I told you, this is what I feel for that kid. I feel like he strong-armed USC. He used recruiting services to do it. And when they panicked and freaked out, they paid him. So you asked me last night if I wanted the kid, and I said I'd be very cautious and I would monitor, because I don't know if I trust a kid 7 years and 7 years, 7 different schools. I've heard things about him in the locker room, and so bad that, look, I don't know if Kirby didn't fight for the kid because of an attitude issue. I'm not saying the kid's a bad kid or he does have an attitude issue, but those are some of the things that are following him right now. And Brian Kelly's not – I don't think Brian Kelly will do the whole Denver Harris thing again. I don't think he's going to get strong-armed by media and boosters to bring the kid in here. And nor should he have, because the kid was a bad apple. When he left Texas A&M, he messed up some culture with you. If you don't believe me, pick up the phone and call your favorite source. I know a guy inside that building. Pick up the phone and call him right now and see what they say about him. You have the bodies and the depth right now, luckily, that I think you can cut some guys at corner and it won't affect you. Same at safety. And there are more bodies coming in. More, you got Juwan Johnson coming in. Where does he play? Corner, nickel? Does he play safety? That's another guy that you're adding in right now that we're not talking about. So there are guys that have not been out there practicing that we have not seen. You know, I think of Michael Turner from John Curtis. By the way, I don't know if you're watching this or if you're seeing this right now. Michael Turner's kicking ass in track. Actually, I should say he's burning everybody up because he's leaving everybody. I don't know if the kid doesn't move and go on the defensive side of the ball. I feel confident that the kid probably would go over the defensive side of the ball. Kid's stupid fast. By the way, somebody said in recruiting the kid's 5'11", 6 foot. Saw the kid this weekend. He ain't no 6 foot. No, sir. Kid's got to be 6'1", 6'2". Easy. So you have a lot of bodies coming in here. Final thing on the portal before I get to this thing with Jayden. I'm skeptical on one area. Guys, listen, I think Josh Pate is right. I think a lot of other people are right that are reporting this too. Not just him, but he's just the first one that comes to my mind. There are a lot of teams that need defensive tackles. There are a lot of teams that are going to go into the portal for defensive tackles. Thank God you do have Bo Davis. Okay, thank God you have him. Because I think that gives you an elevation. But just because you have him doesn't mean you don't need to go out there and spend the money. I do think that next week's going to be absolutely ridiculously insane. When that portal opens, and now that you for sure, and football hasn't had this. Remember, the two-time transfer rule really started coming into effect during basketball season. Now, guys, if they're academically eligible, are going to go elsewhere. And teams at the top that are normally at the top of college football, what do you think they've been doing this offseason? It ain't just you. So you need defensive tackles. It's been the biggest thing that we've all talked about. You had one on campus today. Let's see how that goes. You 1,000%. 1,000% are going to battle your ass off. It might not seem that way on the streets. It might not seem that way because your uncle's cousin, third cousin removed on his mama's daddy's side, the one with the peg leg and the eye patch. I don't care what you're hearing. What I'm telling you right now, when that portal opens on April the 15th, a floodgate is coming. And there are going to be defensive tackles that hit the portal. And you got to be all over them. All right. Make sure we don't have any super chats here. We do not. If you want to, you can send in a super chat. Mudbug, I see your tweet. I mean your comment. I'm not putting up kids' names. You can speculate on who do you think that is going to hit the portal. I am not going to do that. I have my opinions. A lot of the opinions that me and you have, we agree on them. But I'm just not going to do it. I don't think it's fair to anybody. Jason Baker says, we lose in 7. You think how many we will get? 4. I think you get 4. No matter what it looks like. Maybe 3. Maybe you're one under the scholarship limit. I don't know. I do not know. But I think at minimum you get 4. And look, 7 might not be the number. 7 might not be the number. It might be more. I don't know. But I do feel confident that you're going to get 4. I think they're going to add. Look, here's what I ultimately think they're going to add too. I think they're going to add a corner. I think they're not talking about it. I think they're going to add a corner. Well, Blake, we're deep at corner. Okay. All right. I think if the right corner presents himself, they're going to go after it. Now, maybe no corner in the portal does present itself, and they don't. I have a really good feeling that there might be, And I think that once that kid hits the portal, they're going to get an LSU offer. Guys, if they get an offer, they're going after them. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care what any recruiting guy tells you. If they have an offer in the portal, they're going after them, regardless of what happens. You don't offer a guy in the portal and you're playing around. It's in high school. In high school, you can give out bullshit offers. Well, coach, can I commit? No, really. We're just giving you this offer. We're gonna watch you. Oh, okay. So it's a bullshit offer. Yeah, it's a bullshit offer. Okay. You don't see that in the portal. Once a kid's offered, he's offered. Maybe occasionally they pull off on a kid because maybe they wanted to take somebody else. But once they're offered, they're offered. H-Town Creole says there will be a lot of tampering going on after the spring game. Shit, there's tampering going on right now. And this is what I was talking about after the Tennessee thing. You know, day one, if I'm the commissioner, day one, if I ever became college football commissioner, you want the portal to stop the way that it's going? You want crazy NIL shit happening? Meanwhile, by the way, John Calipari is getting $8 million because a mega booster who does Tyson Chicken goes out there and gets him. Just throwing that out there. So he could do it, but nobody, players, it's frowned upon. Anyway, first day as commissioner, I'm legitimately investigating and going after teams that are targeting. And I would put out a memo. If you believe that there's a school tampering with one of your players and talking to one of your players and they're not in the portal, send it to us. Because one thing that I guess everybody has forgotten about the portal too, tampering is still illegal in the SEC, in the NCAA, or any conference that your team's in. So what they should be doing, go after them for tampering. Go after them for tampering. They can't stop you. You know what it would do? You pop one team, stop a lot of people from doing it. Or they'd be very cautious of how they did it. Wouldn't stop it, but it would be definitely more not out in the open the way that it is. Yes, indeed. Running back corner. I see Corey Rogers' comment. Two or three defensive tackles, I can get down with that. That's what I remotely think that they'd do. I don't know of another position that they would go after unless, again, something presented itself that they could not pass up. And that situation could come up. I don't, God willing. I mean, there might be, I'm throwing a position out there, just throwing it out there. There may be a bona fide, and I'm bullshitting. I have no idea if this is going to happen, but I'm giving a hypothetical. There could be a bona fide safety that goes into the portal, bona fide offensive lineman that goes into the portal. And if Brad Davis or anybody Jake Olsen wants to go after him, I think that they will. I don't think they're going to limit themselves. Hey, we can't go get another guy that we weren't intending if it presented itself. They're not going to do that. They would just, unfortunately, have a conversation with somebody, and it would be what it would be. So, yeah. H-Town Creole says, LOL at Kentucky didn't even put up a fight for Calipari. Yeah, and they think, and look, they wanted him out to start off with. So, good on them. It's a win-win for both. I think it's a massive win for Arkansas. Speaking about that, that was going to be around our SEC or your SEC. How do I want to say this? I think I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone. Blake Watson says, Blake, for the player you said we might not expect in the portal, can you reveal the position? If not, I understand. Thanks for the awesome content. Thank you, Blake Watson. I'll say this defensively, not Harold Perkins. Defense, not Deshaun Womack. Neither one of them. That only leaves you a handful of dudes. Context clues. Brandon Reese says it was time for Kentucky and Cal to move on. I agree. Corey Rogers says I could see Toviano leaving as well. Gonna hurt like hell, but he hasn't really solidified a starting spot. Maybe. I don't know. Todd Davis says, Blake, couldn't we just say how about y'all have 90 players and not worry about scholarship limit because NAL contributions are contributing to tuition? They're not. I don't think they're contributing to tuition completely. Look, I would do a flat 100, but the problem with doing a flat 100 is teams would stockpile. And I think 85. Look, it was the biggest take that I had that I walked back on. I said I think that they should go to 100, and I still kind of feel like that they should. But teams like LSU, Bama, Georgia, they'd stockpile on kids. And you never get to the 100. I mean, you could get to the 100, but it hurts everybody below you. I mean, Georgia State would never field a team if Georgia had 100 scholarships because they take every player that they could. Because maybe we can just develop this kid, and if he doesn't work out, shit, cut him. Let him walk. Let him transfer. At least we gave it a shot. So I think that 85 is fine. 90, you could probably have the debate, but they're just not. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Gavin, our good man, always on Rufino and Joe show too. Y'all need to go over there and watch it. It says Blake for commissioner. I'm telling you, I would I would on day one go after every team for tampering because it's the only thing. It legitimately is the only thing that the NCAA, the court system can't go after. What are they going to do? Oh, well, coaches at other they cannot lay down a law that says that coaches can talk to other players. And by the way, it's a conference rule. Maybe a conference needs to grow some nuts and do something about it. But you know what they're doing? They're counting their money. It's like that in the movie Scarface when Tony Montana is on the phone and he's sitting there laughing and everybody's counting their money. That's all Greg Sankey and Tony Fertitta are doing. Like what? Come on. Guys, they had a shit excuse for flipping the schedule for 2025. They could legitimately, if they wanted to, the SEC could go after teams for tampering. They're not going to do that. The conference works for these presidents. They're not going to go after one of their own. So they have a problem with NIL in the portal unless it affects one of their teams winning championships. See how that works? Yeah. Sit on a stick. Maybe a forked one too, so you get, it gets all of the inside. Pause. All right. Very quickly, let me get to this Jayden Daniels thing before I get to a break. I hear whispers. And the whisper, and I told you this an hour ago. I'm going to tell you this again. I don't know if Jayden will go number one. What I do know is that I do think that there are teams in the NFL right now that want to trade up to come get him. As I said an hour ago, I do think that that team could be New York. No, I'm not talking about the Jets, Jets, or as the great quote in the movie Big Daddy, the goddamn Jets. Would not be shocked if the Giants moved up and did something with Daniel Jones. Wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be the only one. I do think that Mark Davis is tired of losing. I have a buddy of mine who may or may not have been in the NFL for a long time. And I think that the move to Vegas has really helped Mark Davis when it comes to financial and money and all the things he's doing. A lot of money in Vegas. And they want to be friends with Mark Davis. Wouldn't I be surprised if they did it? One team has a former connection with Jayden Daniels, the other does not. I do think that New York, from a system, as of right now, with Brian Daboll, would be a better fit for him. That is my opinion. Jayden has that Eli Manning type of cool, level-headed that he could go to New York and that media. Listen, man, I like literally in the studio right now, I am watching the New York Yankees. Watch every single game that I can. They are down 4-1 to the Miami Marlins, and it looks like Giancarlo Stanton just hit a home run. The Yankees, if they lose tonight, will be 9-3. The New York market will start getting their ass tonight. Jayden, LSU would have been a precursor to what he would see in New York. LSU and the fan base and all the shit that he took. You know, it was so bad. I remember this the other day. You remember when Jayden Daniels said he was coming back and he turned off his mentions on Twitter? That's how much shit y'all talked about him. Some of you. Only to win a Heisman. He can deal with this. I think it'll be all right. All right. I would not be surprised. I think the Giants are very interesting. Very interesting. Not putting any money down on it. Wouldn't be shocked. Let me get to a quick break. We got some more things that we need to discuss here. I'm going to clarify on spring practice. Going to clarify on some things with Garrett Nussmeier that I said Monday and last night that got taken completely out of context to some degree. We'll do that next. Stay with us.
Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Ruffino and Joe Show is brought to you by Home Field Apparel, which is the best, without a doubt, premium collegiate apparel brand that is out there. They have over 150 different colleges that you can choose from, whether you're an Illinois fan or a Rutgers fan, maybe you're an LSU fan like Blake, or maybe you're an Alabama fan, whatever it is, even Idaho. They have so many different designs for so many different football programs that I can guarantee you're going to find some great stuff to help root for your favorite team. I've already gotten my Notre Dame stuff. Blake has his LSU stuff. Make sure you head on over to homefieldapparel.com to check out your team's collection of clothing apparel that they have on the website. And when you do so, when you check out, make sure you use promo code RuffinoJoe to get 15% off your order. That is RUFFINO, Ruffino Joe. Head on over to homefieldapparel.com and get your college gear today.
Something that Jayden Daniels is going to hear it too. Just depends on what team's going to be there when he does it. So listen, here's my Rufino's rants of the night. And I'm very careful sometimes at coming out here and saying and being careful on what I say. And it's interesting because if I ever, it's wild how this process goes for quarterback at LSU, shortstop at LSU, point guard at LSU. You can talk about that position, and man, if you do it enough, the vultures will come out. On Monday, and I think maybe yesterday as well, I said some things about Garrett Nussmeier and referenced the things that we've seen this spring so far from him. And I got sent from a lot of you some things that happened on some message boards. You sent it to me. Okay. Some of you have already commented, and I know that you're in the chat because you're literally the ones that sent it to me and you're in here. Let me clarify some things on what I have seen and thought and said about Garrett Nussmeier. Now, if you do not believe me, if you completely think, for me, that Blake's bullshitting or he's not trustworthy or whatever it is that you want to believe of me, here's what I'll tell you to do. I'll tell you to go over to buddy Wilson Alexander or anybody that you trust who's actually at practice, but ask them. It's interesting. We have had multiple people on the show that we sit here and just talk about what we saw at practice. We did with Bryce Kuhn a couple of our last 2 weeks ago, and we had a conversation about Nuss. Go on YouTube and watch that interview. I want to clarify some things. There are times, more than just times, a lot of times, we have seen LSU go from under center offensively. What I said is that Garrett struggled. He struggled at times from some of the 5-step drops that he had and some of the 7-step drops. The throw to Kyron Lacey that you remember us talking about on Monday was him going up into double coverage on a hitch route, coming down with it, breaking 2 tackles and running for it. Guys, he had a jump and literally stretch out as far as he could to come down with the grab. That play came from under center. You know what else? Not only did it come from under center, it was a 5-step drop. The fade route that he wanted to throw to Chris Hilton wasn't there. The post on the end line of scrimmage in 12 personnel that Mason Taylor run was covered. And he had to come back to the opposite side, the X wide receiver running a hitch. Bad throw. So, all I said was, there have been times, which we saw in, I guess, a glorified scrimmage to some extent, even though they were tackling, at practice, he made a couple of bad throws and's got to get better from under center. We talked about this again on Monday, under center. Kyron Lacey in 12 personnel. So you have a receiver, 2 wide receivers close to the line of scrimmage or closer to the ball, about 2 yards away from both tackles. They were on the line of scrimmage. So 2 wide receivers and then 2 tight ends off ball right behind, or I say right behind, but shaded to the tackles. I gave you the example. It was a lot like the LA Rams and what you see Sean McVay do. And Kyron Lacey runs an in route, and Garrett Nussmeier got flustered from under center because Braden Swinson was bearing down on him, and Jacoby and Guillory got underneath the face mask of Miles Frazier, and Frazier was going back. He gets guys in his face. By the way, they're not hitting him at practice. Makes the throw that is low and behind Kyron Lacey, where he's got to make the catch. Oh, wait. Yeah. Here. And he makes another amazing catch. Oh, by the way, he throws a fade route to him. All I'm saying is we've seen us winning a game at Wisconsin. Please go back a month ago or 2 months ago to the literally my thoughts post Wisconsin on what I thought on the kid. So in a history was I didn't think he was ready when he was a freshman. He wasn't. He didn't think he was. He redshirted. Didn't think he was ready as a sophomore. Got a lot of ridicule from that. Even after the Auburn game, he wasn't. Going to that Auburn game in 2022, people were calling for Jayden's head, but glad we stuck with him. Don't you agree? He wasn't ready then. So then he comes into the championship game, SC championship game, throws for 300.5. Looks fantastic. Looks better than what we saw him against Southern earlier that year where he threw a pick six and then another interception. There are things, guys, that he's got to work on. And one thing is for sure, he's going to have to work on doing things and not getting flustered and finding his throwing windows when he's from under center. Because let me tell you something, when you go in a 5-7 step drop and you are not in the gun, you're not able to see the field the entire time. You have to take your drop, okay, see where the pressure is coming from and where your throwing lane will be, and then let it go. You have to find throwing lanes when you're from under center. If you don't believe me, here's somebody else you can listen to. There are multiple documentaries and YouTube videos where Drew Brees talks about that. Why did you like the gun versus under center? Well, under center, being a shorter quarterback, which Garrett is 6'2", when I make my drop, it's a lot different and find my throwing lanes. So he's got to get better there. Here's another thing that I said. They went 0 for 5 in the red zone. They did go 0 for 5 in the red zone. He was 0 for 5 in the red zone. Don't believe me? Go ask somebody else. Defense stood up Saturday against this offense. They had a rollout play that he missed. The only touchdown that they scored were on rushing plays. Only ones. So I say, hey, look, they're figuring some different things out. There's multiple things that factor here that I told you that we weren't talking about. Joe Sloan's calling plays in the red zone instead of Mike Denbrock. It is the toughest place to convert. Defense still stood up and not letting them score. You had a bad throw in the back of the end zone to Kyron Lacey that he had to try to go up for and missed because it was unbearably a ridiculous catch. You ran it once, you got into the end zone. Okay? Then you threw a backside fade to Chris Hilton and he missed. And then you had the rollout that he missed. So what do you want me to tell you? If I would have written all of that down for you, and if you would have seen it with your eyes, all from under center, what would you have said? Always got to work on this. Guys, he was ridiculous when he was in his normal habitat. When he was in his normal conditions of being in the shotgun, kid was fine. Kid's completely fine. Have no worries about him. He's got to, if they're going to run that, which they are, he's got to be better there. Bottom line, just like a lot of times when we talked to it, Jayden's got to throw the ball down the field. He's got to work on it. By the way, he did throw 3 picks the other Saturday and is having some bad throws on this past Saturday. How do you quantify that in spring? Does he come into the spring game? Look, I think he's going to come into the spring game. I think Joe Sloan's going to want to show off a little bit. They're going to throw the ball all over the place. They're going to run the ball too. They're going to show you some stuff. Well, maybe not the stuff that we've seen in practice. But they go show you some stuff. Kid's going to be fine. Kid's going to be fine. But it's just something that, look, man, if you're going to do it and you have that much, you've had that much non-success on it, how do you take it away? The other thing, listen, you can take my word, I don't care. But I will just remind you, last year we came on the show religiously saying I thought that LSU was going to be the number one offense in the SEC. Guys, offense is something that I study and watch more than anything. I played it more than anything. It's not that, like, I think this offense is going to be fine. I think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to be elite. Guys, elite is Jayden Daniels, Joe Burrow. That's elite. They're not going to be on that level. Can they be Georgia 2021? Wait, 2022, I mean. Can they be Georgia 2022? Yep. I could see it. I could fully see them being Georgia 2022. Quarterback, you throw, let him, and look, didn't Stetson throw for like 4,000 yards? I mean, maybe, and they're going to throw it more than Georgia. But what I mean is, can they be physical at the line of scrimmage and run it where they want to? You're fucking right they can. Especially on the edge. Uh-oh. I think Aaron Boone's about to get tossed. A lot of Yankees fans don't like old Aaron Boone. I don't have a problem with him. I want them to get to they need him to get to the playoff, though. David says, at Blake, never played football, so excuse my ignorance. Why is it so difficult to go from under center versus the shotgun other than the time you have to throw? Maybe that's it, the timing factor. 1,000% a timing factor and throwing lanes. Guys, he's 6'2". It doesn't matter if your line, you're not going to be able to see over your line in general. But think about this. Going and backpedaling or being in shotgun, fielding it 1, 2, scan, or sit, then throw. Like, hey, I'm gonna divert the safety by looking over here, but I know that I got a post rail. Okay, the Z wide receiver running the post, the slot running the rail, and I am going to move this safety over by looking at the fade route down here. Now I got a check down to my running back just in case I need to get to a check down. But when I'm in a shotgun, I can scan that. It is very hard for quarterbacks in today's game. It's the hardest thing that they have done. But it's very hard for a quarterback to go under center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he could be looking that whole time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking, and he doesn't set his feet because he's never been in that situation where he's had to move his feet that much to get the throw off. It's a conditioning thing too. Lazy feet. And Joe Sloan talked about this. Hey, you know what? I just thought about this. Don't believe me. Go listen to Joe Sloan. He talked about for Garrett when he's got his feet up under him. When he's got his feet up under him and he doesn't have, and I'm quoting him, lazy feet, and he moves them. Guys, what Joe Sloan is talking about there is easily, simply broken down. Hey, when he's under center, he's got to stop having lazy feet. You know how I know that he's saying that? Because we're at fucking practice and he's screaming at him, don't have lazy feet. I mean, for fuck's sake. Oh, gonna have a heart attack in here. Look at Gavin, the Washington Huskies fan. He says, Blake, was 2023's Washington's offense elite? If they would have beaten Michigan or if would have scored 40 points versus Michigan, yes. But you can't get shut down like that in the national championship game and let Michigan, just damn near teabag you. And no. Gavin's going to hate me, man. Gavin's going to hate me. All right. Go watch the Yankees win. Get on MLB TV. Shout out to Arkansas. They needed a win. And have some faith in the program. Because even though their baseball team's number one in the country, they still don't believe in Dave Van Horn. That is for sure. See you tomorrow, man. Peace.